Hello and welcome to the First Issue Club. We are your weekly comic book podcast that talks about comic book news and first issues. We're primed and ready. I feel a boiling and a bubbling in my guts, and it's the good kind of bubbles.
Oh, not the too many chicken wings bubbles?
Yeah,
That's
they need
right.
some Pepto-Bismol.
That's right. Happy butterflies.
You feel a girdling in your loins?
Yeah, they're moving downward.
A tingling in your toes?
To the loin area.
To the loins.
What is included in the loins?
I think it's just your crotch. Your fertile zone.
It's plural. Is a testicle a loin, and then the unit also
I think
a loin?
I think that anything
Yeah,
gets
for
covered.
sure.
Everything that gets covered up by a loincloth is in the loin region.
I was gonna say, in textbooks where they have these are the stinky parts you need to wash when you're a 13-year-old
Yeah.
kid,
Yes.
and they have the circle over the crotch.
Yeah.
That's the loin.
You know what? They kind of dropped the ball on that for 13-year-old boys because the circle should be all of you.
For sure.
Every single inch of you
Yeah.
stinks. I don't know what you're touching or rolling in.
Those years to teach must be rough.
Fucking hell. I'd
'Cause-
rather be in a prisoner of war camp.
Oh my god.
Or in a submarine piloted by a PlayStation 2 controller.
Moving on. We've got. I'm Mike D.
I'm Greg.
And I'm Vargas.
And just like Sue Storm, we love a good
We
read.
love a good read. He's such a good guy. We're going to be talking about SDCC news.
Yep.
And before we get to a handful of comics, we're going to be talking about Ribbon Queen later in the episode, some Hellfire Gala stuff, and so much more. On the Patreon this week, we're going to be comparing Marvel events versus DC events, right?
Yes, if I can get my spreadsheet to pull up.
I'm jazzed about that.
There's a spreadsheet for this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
An Excel spreadsheet.
La-ti-da.
Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, we're doing Battle of the Events.
Hell yeah.
So tune in there for more info.
That should be an event, though.
It should be. We should really amp it up.
Battle of the events.
Event fatigue.
It's our event.
It's the very first issue club event.
Yeah, the battle of the events. Who will win? You decide.
You, the reader.
Well, I'll throw it to you, Greg. Let's hear some SDCC news while I run
Got
out of
it.
breath.
So not only are we going to be covering some SDCC 2023 news, we're also going to catch up on the Eisners a little bit
Nice.
after the news.
Also, SDCC news, kind of, right?
Yeah, it was incorporated.
The Eisners are at the convention. Am I wrong?
Yes, you're correct. No, you're not wrong. Sorry, you are correct.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good.
Let's just get it out there. This is the first year that SDCC has kind of actually felt like a comic book convention due to the writers and actors strike happening in Hollywood.
Yeah.
There was no major TV or movie news announced because everyone associated with those would not cross picket lines. So
And the people rejoiced.
yeah, and the world rejoiced.
I honestly wish I would have gone this year.
I know.
Like, knowing what I know now, that it just wouldn't be so overcrowded with people who want to update their blog immediately with
Right.
Marvel news or whatever.
MarvelCentralCastingNews.com. Who's the newest villain in Shang-Chi 2?
But yeah, the video I was seeing of people getting signatures and remarks and stuff seemed so much more mellow than SDCC normally looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was honestly probably heaven. I mean, the comic book creators had more attention on them.
Yeah.
Fans could get to them easier, get more signatures and stuff. So hopefully the writer strike lasts for 10 years. And we get reality TV and great comic book conventions once again.
Was it Jim Lee who said that SDCC is a comic book convention again? Wasn't that the quote that he had?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Which is wild coming from Jim Lee.
Because he's also the head of just DC
because
content.
He's Mr. DC.
Okay, so let's get on with the SDCC news. Marvel announces the new Punisher. We touched on this last week. They put out a little picture on their social media of a Punisher with a question mark over his face, and they're like, who's the new guy?
The people we were speculating
Not even close.
were much cooler than the person who ended up getting picked.
The gall of Marvel to be like, who's the new Punisher? And then be like, it's a guy from S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
Like,
nobody you know, idiot.
Yeah, totally.
So it's a new series by David Pepos and Dave Watcher, and the new character, like we've talked about, is I don't know if a former member of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it is a person named Joe Garrison who has lost his family, kind of in the same way as the original Punisher.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no real tracks being tread, but we got David Pepos on the team,
Totally.
which gives me a little bit of hope that this is going to be something, not in the same vein as the old Punisher, and it's going to be treading some new ground. The guns that he has, Mr. Joe Garrison, Punisher 2.0, is they're like laser beam looking guns.
Fuck yeah.
So, that was the big hubbub. Is anyone have a hot take on that?
Laser beams are cooler than regular guns.
That is true.
Is that a hot take? I don't know if that's a hot take.
The lasers are hot, but that's not really. Yeah, I mean,
I think that was the move. Was more fantasy fun guns than real life looking guns.
I love you call them fun guns.
Fun guns.
Oh, he's just nerfing people.
Yeah, with real Nerf guns.
It's Nerf or nothing.
I'm wondering if there's going to be a lot more of like, you didn't expect this person to be this character over the next like few months. Maybe we have more surprises in store because of the Venom news of Black
Widow has the
Widow.
symbiote.
Yeah.
Has the symbiote, and I've read that that's going to stick for a while.
Okay.
I don't know what a while is, but they said that it's not just like a 1 or 2 issue stunt thing.
I'd be totally down for a Black Widow spy series that featured her with a symbiote. That would be dope as hell. Maybe she investigates the Life Foundation. Maybe Marvel calls me and I can write this book.
Well, I think it's cool that she's like the Black Widow, right? But she's never thrown in alongside the other like spider characters.
True.
And this is a good way to like kind of remind everybody like, hey, she's a fun spider themed character. Like, let's get her in more Spider-Man adjacent stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get her in more of these series, and maybe she keeps somewhat of a symbiote costume, and it's a little like the black costume was on Peter Parker the first time around, where she doesn't change who she is that much, but she's just like, oh, I don't have to suit up anymore and I'm stronger now.
Yeah.
She has literal superpowers where she had none before.
Correct.
So I don't know. I think it's fun. I like the idea. She kind of reminds me of like a She-Spawn looking character. She's got like the red high ponytail coming up out of the costume, which was a really clever, like her signature thing is like the shock of red hair. And it's cool that they found a way to like work that into the symbiote.
Yeah.
Without it looking corny.
Yeah, the costume looks really good.
Yeah.
It was featured on this week's Venom 22 as a variant.
Oh, very cool.
Pick that up if you like the costume design. Not to bite your style, Greg, but didn't Marvel announce a White Widow series?
Yes.
At SDCC? Is that going to be Yelena Belova?
It's going to have to be.
I think so, yeah.
Just another Black Widow, I'm assuming, taking over, or
I don't know if is this the second White Widow volume?
Well, so White Widow was another Venom-esque character on a different comic book company, which is the reason I brought it up, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
White Widow is a non-Marvel character.
That's right.
So now they're like
there was a cover
claiming the name.
There was a cover for this that people were going bonkers for that like weird indie cover. They do like sexy covers.
A lot of butt action, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I completely know what you're talking about now.
And so now Marvel's doing their own version of White Widow.
Okay, and they're using that name,
White Widow.
I did not put that together at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
the characters are completely different.
Sure.
Like, like just to be clear, but
why could I don't like that Black Widow is getting the Venom. I think Black Widow should have became Punisher, and then like Venom should have done something else. Like I feel like Marvel's is kind of
I think it'd be cool if they had a team up book. If a lot of like the Punisher change and the Venom change, but ends up becoming a team that's like, hey, all these alternates. Maybe they call it the alternates.
Oh, sure.
There you go. There you go, Marvel. There's a free one.
The replacements. You bring Keanu Reeves in. They play
They
football.
play football.
Yeah, something like that might be fun. Where you've got this kind of like anti-Avengers, anti-hero
Yeah.
team of like
Legacy characters.
Yeah.
Totally.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
What happens if the Venom symbiote attaches to one of multiple man's multiple men?
That is a fantastic question. Mike?
Would it? I mean, it can only affect that one host, but can't Matic like control all the multiple men with his mind at one time? Or
yeah,
they?
so
or,
when he multiplies the things that he's like the stuff that he's wearing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I would assume the symbiote would be included in that. Well, I don't know. If multiple man, he's never copied another person. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm thinking.
He hasn't
yeah.
copied another living thing. So multiple man can't like grab Andy and then make two Andys. So he probably couldn't make two Venoms.
Thank God.
But what I'm saying is, like, if the symbiote affects just one of the copies,
Uh-huh.
would it then have some kind of weird attachment to?
Any of the
Oh, like
multiple
if they
men.
had a successful merge, could he
Right.
merge to all the different
Because
matches?
Yes.
essentially, multiple man is his own host making his own symbiotes.
Sure, I'll buy that.
And so, would that be like a weird hive mind thing where it's just like
They're already a hive mind.
the perfect amalgamation of like the two things that maybe need to go together?
We times two.
Here's the real question.
Hmm.
If I'm multiple man and I make a multiple and Venom attaches to that multiple,
Yes.
can I like talk to Venom?
Yeah, you can. Because
This is what Greg's saying.
I think multiple man can
Okay.
talk to his copies like we're talking to each other right now.
But like psychically.
Yeah, I think he can.
Bananas.
Marvel, there's another free one. You're welcome.
We gotta get in one of these letters columns. Have you guys ever been in a letters column? Have you ever written in and got published?
No.
No.
And I mark all of them okay to print.
I need to just write. I've never have anything that I'm like, this thought needs to be read by the person writing the comic.
You are on a comic book podcast. How have you never done that?
Yeah, we are a letter section. We don't need to be printed.
Marvel okay to print. All of it.
Okay to print podcast?
half my takes are just for the sake of conversation. I don't come at creators though.
True, but like I don't think any of the letter sections are attacks.
No, but I'm not that. I don't think I'm that sort of person. Even to like, let's say I've seen Jason Aaron like walking around like at a shop or at a restaurant or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't walk up to him and I'm like, hey, I love comic books. You know
I
what I
would.
mean? I'm just not that sort of person.
I would.
I don't approach people that I'm like a fan of.
That's why he doesn't approach me.
I leave them
Yeah, that's why
alone.
we haven't talked in years unless we're on the show.
I take that as a compliment, Mike.
Yeah, he respects me. Does Mike D respect Batman?
But it would be fun to have something published in a comic book that I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Wrote.
I have one. I have a blurb on the cover of By the Horns, Volume 1.
That's dope.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it fucking rips.
The trade.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's the quote is this book fucking rules.
Oh,
And it says Greg Lichtite for Issue Club.
so super profound and unique take.
you know what? Some of the best knowledge comes in the shortest package.
Yeah.
That's what I told my wife.
Nice.
The Dan Slott Spider-Man series is coming to an end to be replaced by a Dan Slott Superior Spider-Man series.
Hell yeah.
With him and Mark Bagley. So
The team.
the team's back together, folks.
I'm ready.
No real news there except they will be exploring more of the relationship between Peter Parker and Doc Ock.
I really enjoyed all the previous Superior Spider-Man stuff.
It was incredible.
Yep.
I don't know how they're going to get back to the Doc Ock relationship.
Are they just using that title?
Superior Spider-Man?
Yeah, I'm assuming they're not gonna have Doc Ock in Peter Parker's body.
No,
Again,
but I
yeah.
think it's just like their paths are crossing again, and they just kind of like
Yeah,
explore that time when they were closer than ever.
sure.
Well, okay, Doc Ock did something to his brain where he no longer recalls his time
comic-
as Peter Parker,
comic
right?
books.
Oh, okay.
I think anyway.
Okay.
Because there was a period of time wherein he was still in the clone of Peter Parker's body, and he had a lot of empathy for Spider-Man now.
Yes.
So much so that he tried to become a hero.
Right.
Mm.
And in some sort of act of heroism, he had to like give up the clone body for some reason
Okay.
and go back into old Doc Ock body, and in doing so, he left his memories behind from the clone body.
Totally makes sense.
Let me read you the blurb. Spider-Man faces a new villain from his superior past. As she fries New York with all the power of a living star, Doc Ock makes a life-changing discovery.
Okay, so Doc Ock's gonna have those memories come back, maybe.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's later in the article they asked Dan Slott to elaborate, and he goes, no.
Hell yeah.
So we don't
Fuck
even,
him up, Dan Slott.
Fuck him up, Dan. So we don't even know what's going to happen from there. But one can assume Doc Ock hits his head and remembers he was Spider-Man for a little bit.
He hits his head twice,
Yeah.
so the memories come back.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm jazzed for this. This will be a Spider-Man book that I read. Not that I'm like anti-Spider-Man or anything.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
just not like a corner of the Marvel universe that I've decided to spend the money on. But I'm definitely gonna read.
I think we all
this.
know where you decided to spend your comic book money on.
Yeah, I'll show you on the Patreon.
They kind of redesigned his pinchers recently, and I really like the look of them.
Oh, they're like actual,
they're more like
octopusy,
Yeah,
right?
they look like actual octopus.
Yeah, they're more
tentacles.
fluid.
Yeah, that's dope.
In one of the more surprising reveals, and one that is really, touching in my area of collecting, DC announces that Justice League is going to fight Godzilla and King Kong
Fuck yes.
in an epic new crossover.
Jesus
This,
Christ.
this is the epitome of the perfect crossover.
Oh, dude. Are you kidding me? I already pre-ordered every cover.
When all my favorite properties come to roost in the same nest,
Yeah.
Are you guys serious?
I will read the shit out of this.
Yeah, I will absolutely read it. How are you not going to read this?
I just don't care.
It's a fun throwaway thing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Dan Mora's doing some art on it.
Dan Mora.
I'll probably buy the first
Dan
issue.
Mora, Mike. Well, you're going to have to because we're going to cover on the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's all read it and give our honest takes about how
Expert
good it is.
opinion.
It's
You guys did talk me into buying that James Tynion Dracula comic.
Yes.
So I am going to read that at least.
Excellent.
You got some heat in the Discord for that.
I still think it's dumb.
I will give you the fact that
Don't
if
back
you're
down. Stand your ground.
that if you're buying something simply for the name or property,
Mm-hmm.
that's a little silly.
Yeah.
Like
If
how
you're-
people buy books just about Spider-Man. Like who would do that? Who would buy a book just about Spider-Man and his amazing friends? Or like who would buy a book just about Batman? This makes perfect sense in my book. I don't know why we're arguing about it.
He did flame us. He got us.
Yeah, Bart. It was also announced that The Last Ronin is getting a sequel
Yeah.
to explore more of that world.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Can you see how shocked I am?
I guess IDW does like money, and they saw how well the first Last Ronin did, so they decided to double dip. Howard the Duck is getting a 50th anniversary special. Chip Zdarsky is going to be writing one of the stories. It's like a big anthology
Okay.
Howard the Duck book. I think it how it's described is it is essentially It's a Wonderful Life Howard Duck.
Oh my god.
So it's like going to explore what the world would be like if Howard the Duck didn't exist.
Oh, that's funny.
So humor and hilarity abound. What else is there? Some X-Men 97 footage was shown. It's the new animated TV show.
dope.
Rob Liefeld forgot to go to his own panel. People were weirded out about that.
Oh boy.
A lot of Barbie cosplay this year.
Sure.
Not a lot of Oppenheimer cosplay as I'm seeing.
Sure.
And then, as I'm looking through,
I saw Todd McFarlane announced the what's the other guy in Twitch?
Sam
and Twitch are getting their own series coming up.
Yeah.
Another one, huh? I guess
Another Spawn book.
This is probably updated. Yeah. I mean, Sam and Twitch have had series in the past, but
are they supposed to be a parody of Bullock and Gordon?
Yeah, more or less.
They really look like it.
Yeah. Yes.
I've always kind of thought that, but I wasn't sure if it was like everyone thought that or
For sure.
Okay.
And then finally, Dr. Doom has recruited his own form of a mutant X-Men team, which will be explored in Fall of X later this year.
Okay.
And if you've read Hellfire Gala, shit went down, and we'll get into it later in the episode.
Nice.
Moving on. The Eisners.
The famous Eisner
The famous Eisner song, sang by Tony Eisner, the lesser-known brother. These are just going to be going...
Will, you were always Mom's favorite.
Yeah. You were always Mom's favorite, drawing her favorite pictures. She never liked my jingles.
She loved that movie, The Spirit, with Samuel L. Jackson.
Who was the spirit in that? I always thought it was Matthew Broderick, but it's not.
It's like some unknown dude.
On some unknown dude. We're going to find out it's like...
He was like Henry Cavill.
Pierce Brosnan or something. Mark Hamill. Let's begin. For best single issue, we got Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler by Tom King and Mitch Gerads. Best continuing series.
Oh, you're ripping right through them.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I imagine if you have something to say, you're going to pipe up.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was weird that one of the One Bad Day books won best single issue. I mean, they were good.
The Riddler one was awesome.
The Riddler one was really good.
I guess this is a hot take because the Eisners didn't pick it, but I thought the Clayface one was the best one.
I did like the Clayface one. I don't remember who wrote that. Part of me was just thinking it would be something that like had a lot of build up, like an ongoing series, and then you hit like the last book of an arc, and instead of like a one shot, it would be like
the end of a series.
The end of
like
a series or something would be like, oh, this issue was amazing.
Well, I'm shocked because A Vicious Circle was on there by Mattson Tomlin, and we covered it on the show a while ago. It's from Boom Studios. That book fucking ripped. It was beautiful.
Insane.
So I haven't read Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler.
You should.
I guess I got to get after it.
Yeah, those are good.
Next up, Best Continuing Series, Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Bruno Renardo.
This shocked me.
It did surprise me too.
Yeah.
I've been in and out of it.
It was up against The Nice House on the Lake, Philadelphia, Department of Truth, and Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky. Not to mention She-Hulk by Rainbow Rowell. Like this series, this category was fucking stacked.
Yeah.
And I mean, 2022 was a great year for Nightwing. That book blew the fuck up.
For sure.
So I can see why it was in the running, but Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil was and still is incredible.
I mean, Department of Truth has been my favorite ongoing series for the last 2 years.
Right.
Like basically since it launched.
I mean, yeah, James Tynion has 2 fucking books on here.
Yeah.
So
Buck Wild.
So congratulations, Tom and Bruno.
They introduced that tiny Robin.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The Batmite, whatever.
Yes,
Robin.
Batmite, yeah.
And it's the Nightwing Mite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Night Mite.
Night Mite.
I did buy that. I got the really cool Dan Hip cover of that.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
love his covers.
He's great.
He's so good. He has a bunch of cards on Marvel Snap.
Oh,
like
really? I didn't
variants and
realize
stuff.
Every time he drops stuff on his store, I clamor to get it, and it just is impossible.
No dice.
What does he sell in his store?
I mean, stickers, prints, original
Okay.
art. Like, I've tried to get anything, and
Yeah.
he just, like,
Yeah.
it's just snatched
He
up.
used to do like these scavenger hunts
Yeah.
around like Disney, where he would leave original drawings
Oh, that's cool.
in places, and I was like, God damn! If I would abandon my family at that
Right.
point and just be like, Hey, I'll be back in like an hour. I gotta go find these fucking drawings. Best limited series: The Human Target by Tom King and Greg Smallwood. Tom King had a fucking field day this year.
Yeah.
The Human Target, which we knew was going to be
Oh,
fantastic.
oh yeah.
Because, I mean, Tom King's great, but Greg Smallwood just crushed it with this series.
That was a maxi, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. The art.
I'm gonna buy the collected of that because I have a couple random single issues here and there.
Wait for the absolute edition.
Oh, there's
'Cause
an absolute edition.
There's going to be.
They need to make. I mean, they've got to make one.
Mhm.
This book was my like team up of the year last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just Tom King and Greg Smallwood. Whatever they're doing together,
Yeah.
is just
I love Greg Smallwood.
magic. Yeah,
His Moon Knight stuff was
Oh, so good.
insane.
unreal.
yeah.
Yeah.
The New Egypt arc
Yeah.
was so great.
Moving on to Best New Series. The winner is Public Domain by Chip Zdarsky.
That surprised me.
Yeah, it surprised me too.
I liked the book a lot, but
What publisher was that on?
Image.
Yep.
It was on Image?
Mm-hmm.
It was originally a Substack series.
Okay,
that
right,
Image
yeah.
put out.
I remember thinking it was kind of like obscure.
Mhm.
And that's because I probably thought of it just as a Substack thing. But yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. It was
Yeah.
on Image.
It was up against the Atonement Bell, Love Everlasting by Tom King,
I do
Star
like-
Trek,
yeah.
and Traveling to Mars by Mark Russell, the book about the man who's terminally ill
Yeah.
that gets sent to Mars.
That seems
which is a
cool.
fantastic book.
I like that first issue.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Best humor publication. Revenge of the Librarians by Tom Gauld. It's from Drawn and Quarterly. It was up against I Hate This Place, Killer Queens, and the Cryptid Club.
Hey, friend of the show, Kyle Starks.
Kyle Starks. Bummer that he didn't get the win this year, but I guess congratulations to Tom.
Yeah.
BBB. I'm trying to. A lot of the Eisners is just like weird stuff, and I'm skipping past the weird stuff. Everybody.
I'll pitch something to the club.
Mm-hmm.
How does the Eisners not just like hand Jordy Belair an Eisner every year?
Oh, I know. The colorist.
Yeah, it should
Like-
have that. There needs to be like a lifetime achievement award for which I think they'd have a version of.
Yeah, they have their version
Yeah.
of like great achievement in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they give out like a lot of awards every year to just like a pool of people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Jordy needs to be one of those people.
For sure.
If they haven't
Yeah.
already.
Every year. Like, because it never fails. It's Jordy Belair and is it Clayton Cowles,
Mhm.
the other colorist?
These names you just see on like every other
Yeah,
comic. you buy.
every single book that you buy.
Mike Spicer,
Yeah, there's like 4 colorists that are like,
Dave Stewart.
yeah, just masters of their craft, and those dudes need like way more love.
Fucking recognition.
Yeah,
Let's see here. Best writer went to James Tynion.
totally.
Best writer artist went to Kate Beaton for Ducks, which is do you remember Kate Beaton wrote Hark Variant or Vagrant?
Yep.
Ducks, 2 Years in the Oil Sands was getting huge reviews in 2022 as
And that's another. Is it a Fantagraphics book or
Drawn and Quarterly.
Drawn Quarterly? Okay.
Best penciler, inker, or penciler inker team went to Greg Smallwood for The Human Target.
Totally.
Best painter, multimedia artist went to Sana Takada. She
Yeah,
did
Monstrous.
Monstrous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful artist.
Best cover artist went to Bruno Redondo. Best coloring, Jordy Belair.
Yeah, every year, just hand
Right
it
there.
right. Like,
Best lettering, which I thought was really cool, Stan Sakai.
Yeah, that is cool.
nice. That's legit.
Stan Sakai will eventually get like a lifetime achievement best in industry award
Yeah.
when he finally dies drawing his last Usagi Yojimbo book.
God,
I don't think you can take a pencil out of that dude's hand.
I hope he finishes the story. Like wraps it up, like gives a final
Yeah, I mean, because
Usagi story.
it's kind of just like those old samurai movies.
Yeah.
Like there really is no ending. It's just
Right.
a constant journey of finding trouble and writing it. Best comics related book went to Charles Schultz, The Art and Life of the Peanuts Creator in 100 Projects by Benjamin L. Clark and Nat Gertler.
That's cool.
So that's like probably a collection of Charles Schultz stuff. If I had to.
If you had to guess.
Yeah. And that's all that really is would make sense for our audience.
One of my takes on the Eisners
Well,
is
set it up.
this is my hottest take this year. Barnstormers won
Okay, yeah, let's get into it.
for best digital comic,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That should not be a category anymore.
Really? Why?
It's a comic book.
And it is being printed on.
Now they're printing
Now
it.
they're printing
It's
it.
written like a comic book. It's formatted like a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
They should be measured against other comic books. I feel like the whole digital comic thing, it was probably more in the spirit of like, here's this amazing web cartoonist.
Oh,
and
sure.
they do like a page a week on this like ongoing serialized thing that doesn't fit the format of a normal comic book. When you're writing comics and saying, let's release it online before we print it, and it follows normal format, that's just a comic book.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're writing it like you would any other comic book. There's no reason for it to be a separate category, in my opinion. I love Tula Lotay and Scott Snyder. I think they're amazing creatives, and I think they deserve all the awards anyone can give them. But the category just doesn't make sense anymore the way digital comics are treated now.
Yeah, because the idea of a web comic
Yeah.
is different from the idea of a digital comic.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could have a Comixology exclusive.
Yep.
But to rate Scott Snyder and Jock's Snow Angels
Mm-hmm.
against Mike D's webcomic
Yeah.
is like no contest, right?
Right.
Who's gonna win every time? Of course.
And like every
Mike D's webcomic.
well, it should.
every Marvel issue comes with a digital comic that is the exact same format as something like Barnstormers.
Right.
Like, should every Marvel comic be up for nomination of best digital comic?
Yeah, or every Marvel Unlimited comic. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should.
I wonder if the category is it starts out on a digital platform,
I think that is the category.
and then whether it's produced
Yeah.
physically or not is irrelevant.
yeah.
But again, that would include Marvel Unlimited
It would
exclusives.
include Marvel Unlimited. That's true, but it would not include
And
the Marvel code
and
you get to
right,
scan in your book.
honestly,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm happy with it, including a Marvel Unlimited, one of those like long scrolling comics, right?
Sure.
Because that breaks format. That is its own thing.
Oh, so your hang up is the format.
yes.
Okay.
Like a couple years ago, Afterlift won, which was a graphic novel that was published online first and then published in book form second.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I don't think Afterlift should have won for digital comics. It does not require or isn't implicitly like related to a digital format.
Sure.
It's something made for paper shown in digital form.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So-
they should have like best web comic.
So your criteria would be the digital comic has to be uniquely digital and can only be read.
It has to break format specifically
Right.
for digital.
It can only
Maybe
be
let's say the panels like are moving or something, and someone does this like
Mhm.
cool animated thing between panels.
yeah.
Like that's a format specifically for web that you could not do in print.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I think that qualifies. I think the
No,
long
totally.
scrolling things qualify because they cannot be measured against a normal printed comic book.
Yeah.
But
some-
if you can get this comic on your iPad and flick the screen like you're flicking
And
a
it's
page,
full 11 by 17 normal comic book artwork, the normal pages
Mhm.
of a comic book or graphic novel. Get out of here. You're going to print that at some point. It was created to be printed. You're just releasing it on the internet first.
Right.
Okay. Interesting.
Should not be a category anymore.
If you have thoughts,
Or
let
they
us
should
know.
change the category.
Or they should change the
Yeah.
category to be more specific to
Totally.
certain formats. Because that's not fair
Yeah.
to these people who've got a really specific niche craft in creating something unique for digital. Like, I feel like There's all like Benji Nate is a really cool cartoonist who does stuff like Girl Juice, and she does these like individual like little strips that are published week to week.
Sure.
That
KCXD.
False Knees is someone who does these like really cool bird comic shorts.
Yeah.
And they're like made for Instagram more or less,
Sure.
right? And you could sell them as prints, or maybe you could do like a collected edition at some point that puts them in a book, but their format is specific to digital.
Yeah. I'll second your hot take.
Yeah. Third, it passes. The hot take passes.
It's a first issue club take now, not just a Mike D take.
And now it's cold.
Now it's bitter, bitter
Yeah.
cold. And now you are up to date on SDCC news and the Eisners.
Voila.
You are welcome.
Excellent work.
Thank
Greg.
you. Vargas, take us away with the book that you and I read.
Me first.
Yes.
The one we read together,
Mm-hmm.
like friends.
Yep. You held one page, I held the other.
That's right. We read it aloud.
We're the same T-shirt.
Your faces were touching.
Mm-hmm.
We read Ribbon Queen by Garth Ennis and Jason Burrows. And it was awesome.
On AWA.
Oh, yeah, AWA.
Artists, writers, and artisans,
Yes.
in case you didn't know.
That's what it stands for, folks.
I know I'm interrupting your take on this already.
Please.
I sometimes skip AWA first issues. And I like a lot of the creators,
Yeah.
but I don't know. There's something about this publisher wherein I'm like, no one's bringing their top most fiery heat to AWA.
That's why I like it, though.
Okay.
Like, I like the idea that
My goal is to tell a good story here that's like unique. Maybe not the thing that like it's not a huge to do.
yeah, well, like I read the letters section on Cullen Bunn's Red Zone,
Uh-huh.
right? And it's not a normal Cullen Bunn book because
Yeah.
it's like a spy story.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that Cullen Bunn's like, I got this idea for a weird spy story.
It doesn't fit in with my other stuff. I'll do it over here.
Image and Boom are probably not going to pick it up.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot at AWA.
Okay.
And they'll do it. You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of their books are like Sins of the Salton Sea.
Yep.
That's somebody is writing it for sure. I don't know who it is. But again,
I think like that Garth Ennis does a lot of minis on this publisher, doesn't he? Did he write that Marjorie Finnegan
yes.
temporal criminal book?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that was a
That book
weird
was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's not like a normal Garth Ennis book.
Yeah. Right.
Sins of the Salton Seas by Ed Brisson.
Ed
by the way.
Brisson, thank you. Yeah, that's like a crime, supernatural crime
Yes.
thing, kind of outside Ed Brisson's
Yep.
wheelhouse.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of these dudes are like, oh, I had this idea while I was writing Predator and Ghost Rider and Wolverine at Marvel,
Yeah.
but I don't really have this isn't a great
The
enough
space
idea
to do it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not an ongoing, so Image might not want it.
Yeah.
I'll put it out on AWA. Axel Alonso's brainchild.
Well, I'll agree with you, Mike, that they don't typically bring the fire, but they definitely bring the TNT, which means that any one of these books could be created for the TV show, the TV company TNT, and be a show at any moment. Like Ribbon Queen could be a show tomorrow.
For sure.
Like any of those books we just mentioned could be a show on TNT.
Have any of these books, again, not that this isn't my motivation for buying comics, to be clear, but can you think of any AWA book that you're like, oh, this got optioned and is now like kind of a collector's item?
No.
I can't either.
I don't know that it has, but the big one was it the Revolution? The
J. Michael Straczynski
yeah,
wrote that.
that was
one?
like because that's their universe.
Okay.
They have like multiple books inside that world.
Mhm.
Like the Moths, I think, is inside that universe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. So I would think if there was one, it would be that,
Yeah.
but I don't know for sure.
Not all robots Was that the name of the book?
Yeah, Not All Robots
Yeah.
I think
by
that-
Mark Russell.
Mark Russell. That was an AWA book, I think. That
Yeah.
was my favorite. That's been my favorite AWA book.
Yeah,
I
that
can
one was
think
really
of.
good.
I have not read Ribbon Queen, though. Back to the topic at hand. Sorry. Little side tangent on the pub.
No, you're fine.
What's the gist of this book? Okay, so there was a serial killer that was caught
Mm-hmm.
a year ago or 2 years ago in the book.
Yes.
And there is a potential copycat killer or a link between the victim that got interrupted last and the guy, the SWAT agent who broke up the last murder.
Yes.
She was found dead. There's evidence against him that he has been harassing her since he saved her.
Yep.
Oh, that's an interesting
Right.
concept.
So
and there's also a twist in here. There's a lot of like BLM stuff. So it's like,
yeah, Black Lives Matter was mentioned a few times in this.
yeah, so there's like an underlining, it's a cop story, but there's an underlying tone of like ACAB, like
Yeah.
all cops are bad.
You can, for me, I can definitely tell when Garth was writing this book. It's definitely a book of a time when
Yeah.
when the Black Lives Matter movement was really like vocal and really out in the streets. There's a lot of protests happening. There's a lot of anti-cop rhetoric going on. The gist of this book is, girl's captured by a serial killer. The guy that saves her basically falls in love with her and thinks he's owed a relationship because he saves her.
Yeah, there you go. That's a lot better than I said.
You did a great job. She is dead.
Yeah, she is killed in the book.
You can't see it, folks. I did air quotes. She is dead.
Yeah.
Now an investigation begins with the crime unit of who killed her, and it comes out that this guy was being really pushy and aggressive and just like kind of stalkery about how he's like owed this
Something.
yeah relationship or whatever for helping this woman out. And then at the end of the book, we kind of finally figure out why it's called the Ribbon Queen.
Yeah.
And it takes a supernatural twist
Yeah.
or like some kind of demonic twist.
Yeah.
The twist for me should have happened way earlier in the book.
Oh no, man.
The build up to this for me as a reader was not enjoyable.
Really?
I was just like, where are we going with this, Garth? Like, where are you taking me? And the conversations between the officer and the like lieutenant of the police thing was like, this could have been kind of simplified for me, and just I wanted a bigger hook.
I feel like I am with Vargas on this. While I didn't read Ribbon Queen,
Yeah.
I skimmed it very quickly, and the page at the end really struck me.
Mm-hmm.
And I use the I bring up Drive a lot, the movie Drive,
Sure.
when I want to articulate this thing that there are. I really like media or art that lulls you into a sense of comfort with like what the story is, and then when it does its crazy shit, it's like really fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this book like earned that page turn, and because I was just like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like the visual is so striking.
And on top of that, it's like a double scoop of twist. So,
Yes.
all right. So, spoiler alert for anybody who wants to read this book. I'm going to spoil it. So, skip ahead 15 seconds or whatever. But
Well, she's on the fucking cover,
sure, you find out that the girl is alive,
quote unquote,
Yeah,
maybe
she's
somehow,
undead or something.
possessed.
whatever it is, and the guy who is accused of killing her is like ripped to shreds,
Yeah.
pulled apart,
Ribbons, you would say.
two ribbons.
Yeah, his like skin becomes ribbons.
yeah.
Which I agree. That's a cool reveal. And that's enough of a tasty hook
Yeah.
to get me to the next issue. It kind of just like meandered back and forth to
So-
where I wanted to finally get to.
Let me ask you this: you don't like Law and Order, do you?
Let me tell you where I'm at.
Yeah.
this week, Caitlin's parents are hosting her grandmother and aunts.
Uh-huh.
And every time I go over there, fucking Blue Bloods is on the TV, which is a cop show on CBS or whatever.
Yeah.
And is the most pro-boomer show I've ever seen in my life.
Sure.
So I was tired of cop shit.
And then,
And then I read this book, I was like, okay. And then I got the supernatural stuff, I was like, okay.
yeah.
So I wanted less cop stuff, more ribbons.
Yeah. And this was very much...
This was very much cop procedural.
A procedural, yeah. Exactly.
Until the very end.
Exactly.
Which I can handle to an extent.
Yeah.
But the hook on this was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I really loved it. Garth Ennis, Mike D and I were talking about before we started recording. Garth Ennis and Jason Burrows have worked together a lot. They did, what was it? What did we find? Crossed and 303. If anybody read 303,
A couple other things.
yeah, a couple other really indie stuff on Avatar, mostly Avatar Press. But I think these dudes just like get each other.
Yeah.
Jason does the visuals really well. Garth is probably my favorite comic book writer, so this book was right up my alley.
Yeah. If you've read Crossed, you know that this was maybe the right guy to get for a comic book where people get shredded.
Yeah. Don't read Crossed. Read 303 instead.
Just don't. Just skip Crossed altogether. You are welcome.
Read 303 instead.
Did they
It's
do
much better.
Punisher Soviet together?
Maybe. Was that Jason Burrows?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
And then Scars,
Uh-huh.
all kinds of stuff.
They
so
did
yeah,
a ton of stuff together.
They're on the same page with one another
Yeah.
as far as content goes.
Yep. And 8-issue mini.
8 issues, perfect for a mini.
Yep.
I've always said if it's under 6, it's too small.
Yeah.
It needs to be like you cut yourself off too short when you give yourself 5.
Yeah. Those 4-issue minis they're tough.
God, have you ever read a 2-issue mini?
Yes.
That's like microscopic.
The smallest.
The smallest mini.
I guess you could have a 1-issue mini.
We call those one shots.
Yeah, it's a
or
one-shot.
annuals. They have their own special name.
Sorry, Vargas.
Fine. It's like I've never read a comic before.
First time.
What'd you read, Mike?
I read a book out on Domino Press. It's a $10 comic called Bonding, and it is a parody or send-up of Spider-Man and Venom's relationship. And
That sounds like a hoot.
oh my gosh, it's so much fun. I can't recall the writer / illustrator's name. He's El Hot Cheeto on Instagram.
Shout out to El Hot Cheeto.
Definitely follow this person. They released this book a while back, and I bought it immediately, and then it just started shipping out this week, so people are just starting to get it. And there's several fun like mini backup parodies of Spider-Man stuff in the back, but really fun issue. The story parallels, like, it shows the Venom suit being really obsessed with Peter, and then Peter's really obsessed with MJ. And Venom and Peter have both blown their relationships, right? And so they're kind of having this moment where they like, do we need each other? I realize once I don't have you anymore, I realize I need you. There's just some really interesting like parallels between the MJ and Peter relationship and the Venom and Peter relationship. So while it is a goofy send up with a lot of like over the top, like wild cartoony art, it also has some like poignant themes in it, which is like, I love that balance of just like toilet humor and goofball fun art, and that moment at the end where you're just like, wow, yeah.
I think we all learned something here today.
So A+, support your weird micro pubs. This like comes in like larger magazine size, and it's all newsprint.
Yeah, the quality looks pretty primo.
I'll say that it just comes in like a normal mailer envelope. These comics aren't meant to like arrive in mint condition.
So if you're looking for a 9.8,
yeah, it's like it's meant to be a punk rock zine kind of thing. So just go into it with that expectation if you pick this up. But $10 on Domino Press, their website. I think it's worth a buy if you're into supporting weird indie shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
I stupidly stepped foot into the Hellfire Gala 2023. It's been over a year since I've read an X-Men book,
Oh wow. Okay.
but I knew
Something was gonna happen.
shit always
Yeah,
goes
they
down
always
at the
do it.
Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
This year's no different, folks. They typically announce the new X-Men team
Yeah.
every year. This year, no different. Team was announced.
Who's off? Who's on? Can you tell us?
Juggernaut, Jubilee, Dazzler, Cannonball.
Wow, what a weird
Sync
team.
and
Sync's still on. What about Laura?
Talon.
Talon, yeah.
Those are your X-Men.
Wow, no Cyclops?
Wrong. They are immediately killed. Nimrod shows up to the party and
Oh,
crushes
shit.
them to death.
All right.
So I guess, Mike, you can help me out here. Orcus has been laying the foundation all year to like cut off the Krakoan nation from their goings on.
Yeah.
So since Charles has been so distracted with his telekinesis bullshit, he hasn't noticed that they've been kind of working in the background and figuring out how to manipulate the gates to get in.
Yes, they've been leading up to that.
And let's see what else happens. They sneak Moira X in.
Uh-huh.
Moira kills Jean Grey because they have this new like poison thing to like take mutant powers or like kill mutants immediately. Like melts them. And then we find out that I guess Mr. Sinister with like a club on his forehead.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. Is it Mr. Sinister?
Yeah, there's several Sinisters now.
Well, anyway, it turns out he's been working
Yep.
in the factory where they make the medicine.
Uh-huh.
They've been putting in a backdoor kill switch in the medicine.
Uh-huh.
So now every human that has taken the medicine can be killed with like their little handheld device that MODOK controls.
Yes, I saw MODOK was part of this.
So they, quote unquote, have bested
Yeah.
the mutants on
That
Krakoa.
that reveal came ahead of Hellfire Gala stuff.
Okay, so this is like just the brunt
This
of
is-
it all.
Yeah, this is the comeuppance of that.
And so
Why do they keep having the Hellfire Gala?
thank you.
If
Oh my
all this-
god. It's like a calling card for every villain to be like, all right, we're going there. We're going to fuck some shit up.
I'm gonna kill everybody.
Yeah. They're all in one place. Booyah.
I think it is meant to be like a cocky show of power.
Mhm.
Sure.
Like the Oscars.
Yeah, right.
But when's the last time the Oscars was
When's the last time? Yeah, when's the last time Nimrod showed up and killed the cast of the Avengers?
the closest thing we got was Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. A warning, folks.
Of things to come.
Of things to come. Slap heard around the world. So Charles Xavier surrenders.
Chuck X. Yep.
He's like, all right.
I give.
He's like, what do you guys want? And so Orcus and Moira X finally reveal that they want all the mutants off of Earth.
Yep.
So they have like concocted a way to like reverse polarize the gates to send them through to Araco.
Okay.
Or that's what they tell them.
Yeah.
They're going to Araco, get off the planet. If we see you guys again, we're going to start killing humans. So Chuck X uses his mind powers. Every mutant on the Earth says, hey,
I'm going into a gate.
go through the gates. Don't get ahead of me. He says, you all go through the gates. So every mutant on Earth, essentially, as you see, starts going through gates. I guess Charles has taught some of the mutants how to resist his mental powers.
That's also been set up in books leading up to this.
Okay.
They show
Like the resist thing.
Storm resisting his powers
Mm-hmm.
in a recent issue. They do it with a couple other characters
Right.
too.
So he taught them that.
Yes.
He was like,
If I'm ever irresponsible,
Mhm.
you've got a failsafe
yes.
to keep me out.
So there's a few left on Earth that just kind of resist and stay back. Kingpin is there because of Typhoid Mary.
Yeah.
He's irritated So he's like killing like Orcus people, just like crushing them with his big Andre the Giant hands. And
What a recap this has been so far.
I love it.
I'm loving this.
and then
This is how I'm reading all my comics from now on.
Yeah,
right.
Greg telling me.
We'll just buy you comics.
Yeah.
And you
a comic book that like I have never read any backstory on.
Mm-hmm.
And so Moira gets ready to kill Chuck X.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden Chuck's just like, all right, go for it. And Rogue comes out of nowhere, rips Moira X in half.
Wow. Okay.
And apparently she's a robot.
Yes, she's mostly robot.
Bada bing. That explains all the circuitry and stuff in her guts, where the guts should be. So they're zipping off. They're leaving Krakoa. Okay, is there an archipelago that's like called something?
An archipelago that's called.
It's not like Araco, but it's basically like another mutant island. Anyway.
Oh, Emma has a.
Oh yeah,
Where they house a lot of the goods that
Yeah.
go in and out of Krakoa.
Yeah.
It's an Essex, one of the Essex, Rebecca or something. Or she has a new name now, Miss something, Miss Rip.
Yeah, one of the Sinisters is a woman.
yeah.
Okay,
She's the Mother Righteous.
Mother Righteous. Yes,
Yeah.
she takes that piece of land and puts it into like a marble,
Uh-huh.
and then just disappears. So whatever's on there is safe, I guess.
Okay.
That's something that'll probably be explored into the Fall of X.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rogue, Chuck X, leaving Krakoa. Charles freaks out, tells Rogue to put him down. He has a realization that Araco doesn't exist anymore. Like it's gone or something. So he's basically just said he sent every mutant on Earth through those gates is now dead. Because they didn't go anywhere. They
Yeah.
just kind of like went into like a big
Space vacuum.
space meat grinder vacuum.
Yeah.
So he is just lost it.
Yeah.
And like now, presumably, he's the only occupant of Krakoa. Just like trying to deal with his shit and figure out
Yeah.
what he's going to do next.
Uh-huh.
Jean Grey is dead. She has manipulated the minds of Orcus and the weird, sinister deck of cards folk into thinking that Firestarter was one of their moles to begin with.
Okay.
They had this like psychic conversation, Firestarter and Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And Jean Grey's like, here's what I'm going to do. While I'm dying, use the last of my powers to make them think
You're in on it.
that you're in on it. So you
Yeah.
can be our guy on the inside.
Yep.
So she dies. Not before telling Logan and Scott that she loves them.
Yeah.
And then she's gone. Full skeleton, still has hair. Explain that to me.
Gross.
Explain that to me. And then this all basically just leads into what Fall of X is going to be.
Yeah.
Basically, the Krakoan nation is in shambles. Everyone's scattered everywhere. It kind of was teased in the solicits that Nightcrawler is now going to be
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's going to be doing. Nimrod is back in full force like you've been wanting.
Yep.
And so we'll see where it goes.
That's great. They had to pay off Nimrod in a major way.
And they did.
And
Oh,
this
he
is-
beat the shit out
Yeah.
of the Juggernaut. It was crazy. A lot of writers in here, a lot of artists.
I always loved the like random issues of X-Men that they would do in between the other like ongoing story arcs they'd have,
Mm-hmm.
where they were like, this week we're gonna try to kill Nimrod again. And they do like the one like crazy space caper and they'd like almost get him. And it's like, God, how did we miss that there was like a gate seed, hidden somewhere on like the mother mold or whatever. I loved that stuff. And I was just like, yeah, I've waiting for years and years and years. I was like, they did so much in Powers of 10 or Powers of X that they got to pay off Nimrod at some point. This seems like suitable payoff.
Yeah, so a lot of cool stuff's going to be coming for the Fall of X. This book opens with Kamala Khan coming out of her egg, and the whole thing is
Oh, was she killed immediately again?
no, she was able to teleport with.
I didn't realize that was the issue. She would come back.
Yeah, with Emma
Well, slab it.
and all them. Well, yeah, it's weird, and so it was. Now Kate Bishop can go through the gates. No other mutant can go through the gates, but now Kate Bishop can go through the gates.
Oh, Hawkeye?
Just
No, sorry,
Kitty Pryde.
Kitty Pryde. I'm sorry,
Oh.
Kitty Pryde can now go through the gates.
Okay.
And so there's a question of like, what the fuck's going on there?
Yeah.
Because no other mutant can use the gates anymore.
For something her power of being able to like transport through physical spaces wouldn't let her travel through the gates.
Right. I think they hinted at that in the book of just like her power to manipulate technology is what stopped her from,
Yeah.
or like phasing through technology
Uh-huh.
has stopped her from going through the gates. There was some weird crosshair thing. But the thing I found interesting in the book, besides all that was cool, was Miss Marvel was just kind of like, brought back and they're all like, hey, you're a mutant now. And then Rogue's just like, well, oh no, Hope Summers was like, well, you're kind of an Inhuman and a mutant, which is weird. We've never seen that happen before.
Yeah.
So, Charles Xavier's just like, well, now you can be like the beacon of like the merger of the world. Like you are a beacon of hope to everyone now.
I don't know what the status of, is it Attilan, wherever the Inhumans live.
There's a new Attilan,
Okay.
but I'm pushing up my glasses
Yes.
very, very high on my nose right now.
Mm-hmm. Damn near on your forehead.
Wasn't Thanos a mutant Inhuman?
I don't-
No, he was an Eternal
He was
or
a-
a Celestial.
Yeah, he was
That's
yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah. So I think I don't know. I don't know what Marvel's doing. I don't know if they're backpedaling a little bit or they're just like kind of, trying to have the best of both worlds. We're just like, no, she's not an Inhuman anymore, but she's also a mutant. And
You gotta explain it somehow. Comic book fans.
And the whole issue,
we need
we're
some
a
sort of
real group
explanation.
of bastards. And the whole issue, she's like, okay, so what's my X-Men power? And everyone's like, we have no idea. Well, we have no idea yet what your mutant power is going to be. Because in Biggin is her Inhuman
ability, yeah.
And they're just like, we don't know when it's going to awaken.
Oh,
we don't
she
know
has
what
a power
it is.
that hasn't manifested yet. They're gonna do the making
For
the crystal
sure.
discs
For
things.
sure.
The power.
100%. That's going to be it. So a lot happened. I'm sure to all the X-Men fans out there, hello, you are screaming because I bastardized this book. But let's be honest, folks. You bought it for the fun fashion covers, so shut the fuck up.
And I did.
Yeah. I bought the Ghost Rider one and the Venom one, where it's Dylan in his like hoodie that's also Venom.
Dope.
It was cool. I had fun not knowing what the hell's going on.
Hell yeah.
Like I live every day.
That's what's up, and that's the one way to live life when you're in the club. Bye.
Wait, no, not yet.
What do you mean?
We got one more.
We're over an hour. You want to take it to the Patreon?
Yeah, we'll take it.
We're going to cover Pure Evil by Mirka and Dolfo on the Patreon.
Hey.
Until then, kiss my grits.
First Issue Club is edited and produced by Mike DeStacy, Greg Lichtag, and Andy Vargas. Follow us on social media at First Issue Club, and check out our Patreon for videos, audio, and more at patreon.com/firstissueclub.